3, and I would like to call this meeting to order. Vicki, can you call the roll?
Anderson,
Here.
Appenfeld,
Here.
Bonnet, Burnett,
Here.
Marie,
Here.
Flaherty,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Hiley,
Here.
Keel,
Here.
Olson, Perkins, Wild,
Here.
Yuds,
Here.
Zop.
Here.
And the next item is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by silent deliberation. States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we will have our informal public hearing. This is the time when anyone, either in person or online, who would like an opportunity to speak to council can do so. So if you have something you'd like to say, feel free to come up to the mic or to make your presence known online, and you can speak to council. Last call for anyone, either online or in person, who would like to speak. Hearing none, we will move on to announcements. Does anyone have any announcements they would like to make? Yeah, Alder Hiley.
Hi, I am part of the Leadership Beaver Dam class of 24-25. My leadership project is to help facilitate a storybook trail at the library, which works out really well that we're proclamating Library Week this week. So I did bring some flyers in. As you know, the library is going through an upgrade where they're renovating and moving the entrance from the beginning, what we would consider the front of Spring. At the new entrance will be in the back, and my group wanted to come up with a way to create a path to help facilitate that. So we have I had a little brochure here to show you kind of like their flush mount podiums where books will go on. The library has access to books already through Monarch, so it would be something to facilitate through there. So we're already halfway through our project of fundraising. Our total was over just at 4,000, and we're halfway there already. So if you have anybody, I have some flyers if you have an area in your place to donate as well.
Very good. Any questions for Alder Hiley? I know they've been working on this for quite some time. So, okay, good. Any other announcements? Yes, Alder Flaherty.
I'd just like to announce that myself and some musical friends of mine are getting together on April 19th to benefit a local charity. We're going to be over at the Springbrook Barn in Burnett. The name of the group is Whiskey Flats. We were together for a number of years, voted Dodge County's best band for 2 years running, 22 and 23. And we're raising money for a charity called Joe's House, which is a sober living facility that's gaining momentum here in Dodge County, and very, very good thing for those that need it. So we hope you can join us. The doors open at Springbrook Barn at 6 o'clock on April 19th, and the show commences at 7. And $10 donation at the door gets you in, and there's a silent auction, and there'll be the opportunity to bid on one of my own guitars. So
Ooh.
come on out and see us, Springbrook Barn, April 19th.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any other announcements? Okay, I have just a few. First, council members, remember that we have a brief meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. to swear in those of you who were reelected and to confirm our committee appointments and have our pictures taken. So make sure you look nice. Okay, not that you don't normally, but extra nice. Okay. Second thing I wanted to say is just a reminder that 6 months ago when we reported on Nathan's yearly evaluation, the council requested a 6-month update or reevaluation, and we are in the middle of that process. You all should have received an email. I've heard from over half of you about meeting with me and talking. We can talk about the process in general if you would like, but we would like to get your input. I've already talked to all of the department heads, and I'm working my way through council members. And if you are not interested in speaking with me, that's okay too, but I would love even just a line explaining what your concerns are, just because our evaluation group who set up this process, we're looking to the future. We're going to have to be doing this process maybe again, and we just want feedback on the process itself, in addition to the feedback that we're gathering on our administrator. So if I haven't heard from you, I would appreciate it if you could shoot me an email back or give me a phone call. We can talk in person or over the phone, and the entire process can take 20 minutes longer if you feel like chatting, but we can get it done pretty quick. And then our evaluation group will evaluate all of the data, and we'll have a final report for the councils sometime in May, hopefully that first week in May. Okay, and then my last announcement is, as I've been working through this evaluation process of our city administrator, and also working in my role as mayor and learning to understand the organization of the city and how the city organization functions with department heads and others. I realized that not only did I have a lot of questions, but that there are at least 5 other people on this board who were not on council when the decision was made to move from a full-time mayor to a full-time city administrator. And so I feel that it would be helpful going forward. We still have some work to do as a body in terms of transitioning. We have some decisions this body needs to make that have not been dealt with, but I do feel it would be beneficial for me, for the people who have joined the council after me, and even for some of you who were here when the decision was made, because that was a while ago. That was what, 2021? To have a little bit of a refresher, both on, in theory, full-time administrator, what is that supposed to look like? And then we all know that different communities have different variations, looking at some of the possible variations. And then we are going to have to come to a decision eventually about what our variation of a city administrator system is going to look like. So the first step is strictly, I'm envisioning as something more educational. I've been making contacts to set up a workshop, getting someone from an organization who deals with city administrators on a regular basis and sort of who are experts on just municipal government in general, to come in, give us a quick refresher. Hopefully some of you who were part of that process back in 2021 can also give us your recollections of how the city made that decision and what kind of the goal was. I'm envisioning maybe it'll take an hour at the most. It won't be long-term. We will get to the point where we'll talk about specific decisions and what we want the Beaver Dam version of city administrator to look like at a later date. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm hoping to schedule something for that last Monday in April. But I will have to, keep you posted, because we're still working on getting a facilitator to come in and give us that summary. So, and if you have thoughts or questions or suggestions about that, please shoot me an email. I would love to hear, but I just know personally for me, that's something I feel would be really useful as I go forward. And I know for some of you who are newer to the council than I am, you've had some of the exact same questions. So that's what I'm looking to do. And so you can pencil in that first Monday evening in April, but again, stay tuned. So. Okay, I'm sorry, last Monday. What did I say? Last Monday in April. Okay, very good. Any other announcements? Okay, next item is the disposition of the minutes from our March 17th meeting. Can I get a motion? Alder Burnett.
Make a motion to approve minutes as written.
Great. Can I get a second? Alder Bonnet. Thank you, Alder Bonnet. You received a copy of the minutes in your packet. Does anybody have either questions, additions, or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as printed in your packet, so signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And any abstentions?
Same.
Okay, so Alder Keel and Alder Hiley, thank you. Okay, next item, we have a special proclamation. Uh, Sarah, did you want to read it or would you like me to read it? Okay. Okay, well then I can do that. Okay, would you like to come up to the podium to receive this proclamation? And I was going to say, bring your guests up forward if you'd like. Yeah, come on up. For those of you who may be unaware, this is National Library Week. And so we have some information for you and a proclamation that I'd like to read. So from the City of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, Office of the Mayor, proclamation for National Library Week. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. Whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the supply they need to learn, connect, the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. Whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. Whereas libraries nurture young minds through story time, STEM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. Whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. Whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Roberta Mark, Mayor, proclaim April 6th through the 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit their library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library draws us together as a community. Thank you. And how about a round of applause for our library workers?
Does this work done this way? Oh, this is an improvement over the last time with the mic and the batteries and all right. We're upgrading. So fantastic. First of all, thank you all for your attention. I've passed around the 2024 year in review information. I'm really pleased to be joined by members of my library staff, Michael and Anita, members of the library board, Brandon and Liberty. And some of our staff would love to be here, but they weren't able to make it tonight. We'll be back to give you a fuller update on our renovation. However, I'd like to share the great news that we have to date since last April raised over $743,000. Including a recent grant from the Beaver Dam Community Hospital Foundation of $125,000 for the children's area, recognizing that literacy that starts in youth is part of health literacy, part of well-being, and supports our community and its members throughout our lifetime. So I'm always happy to give anybody a tour, whether you've been on the council for a long time or a short time, or to take your calls. And I thank you for your time and attention tonight.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our city administrator report.
I'm going to be short tonight. I have nothing this evening, so.
The next item would be communications.
We do not have any communications.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the bills from March 14th until April 3rd. And we're looking at an amount of $2,891,302.58. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve those bills in that amount.
Thank you, Alder Zopp. And can I get a second?
I'll second the motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Alder Wild. And pay the bills, okay?
The bills.
And all those in favor of paying the bills, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the bills are paid. Very good.
One abstention,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no problem.
I'm Alder Fisher, so one abstention. Vicky, okay. Next item are resolutions. Our first resolution is number 23.
Resolution number 23-2025, a resolution awarding the contract to install 8-inch diameter cured in place pipe sanitary sewer liner in 2,862 linear feet of sanitary main.
Okay, I believe this item went before the Operations Committee. I don't know if Alder Bonnet, you want to report, or if, I don't know, Jeremy, you wanted to speak?
Well, Jeremy gave a very detailed report on operations, so he can probably do it again here.
All right, thank you. So we received two proposals for this. And so what this is this would be a liner in pipe that does not require any excavation. So in streets that are in need of sanitary main rehab, but we are not planning any near or any street reconstruction in the very near future, this would be a way to rehab that. And so we have utilized VisiSewer for several years on these projects, been happy with their work. So I'd recommend passing this resolution, recommending it to VisiSewer.
Good. Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Then I think we're ready to call the roll.
We need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion?
I was,
Thank you, Alder Bonnet. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alder Hiley. Now we are ready to call the roll.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfeld,
Aye.
Bonnet,
aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Free.
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yeds,
Aye.
Zop.
Aye.
And the resolution passes. Next item is resolution number 24.
Resolution number 24-2025, a resolution accepting a small business development grant agreement from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation.
Before we begin discussion, can I get a motion? Alder Zopp,
I'll make a motion to approve.
very good. And a second? Alder Furry,
Second.
thank you. And I know this went through admin. I don't know, Alder Zopp, or if you want to comment.
Sure. It's a $50,000 grant. The max award for any one grant recipient would be $5,000. So you can get up to, 10 or more, right? Because there could be smaller amounts. It does apply citywide. So well, you might be thinking it was just for, kind of an add-on to the downtown development or the redevelopment, the facade program. This is separate from that facade program. In keeping with that separation, oversight of the program would be through the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce, our city inspector, John Moosreimer, and the city administrator. So they would basically manage the applications and the awarding of the grants and the record keeping. There is a fair amount of record keeping and reporting with this. The chamber would likely do the reporting. The admin committee did ask for summary reporting of who the grants are going to, so that there's a little bit of, there's a connection from the admin committee to this program, just to kind of see how things are progressing. If all goes well, I think everyone is expecting the money to be awarded by the end of 2026. So I think that's kind of a full recap of everything in admin.
Okay, and just for those of you who maybe weren't aware, this is not a new program. This is just additional money for a program that already exists, where the city gives $5,000 startup grants to new businesses. And so this just gives us more money to put into that pot. Yeah, Alder Anderson?
I believe that current program is only for downtown businesses though, isn't it?
I believe the grant requirements were, it had to be to any part of this community.
But I'm talking about the current program.
That is correct.
yeah.
The current program is for downtown businesses. When we wrote the grant, one of the reasons why WEC liked it was an expansion of that grant that didn't just focus on downtown, but would now allow us to offer this $50,000 to any business within the city. So with the caveat that they do have to meet some requirements. It needs to be retail, it needs to be a small business, or restaurant or entertainment. So.
Yeah, Alder Anderson?
So this is not a continuation of the current program.
Well, it's an expansion. It's because, well, I
Okay,
guess the
okay,
point I'm
whatever you
making.
want to call it, that's fine.
Okay, the point I'm making is that this is not a brand new program, that we have something similar to this that's been in existence for a while. And this is additional funds into that will be used not just for downtown, but for the entire community. Okay.
Is there anything in place to prevent businesses or owners or people from double dipping? Since this is a completely separate program than the current program.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? I didn't understand.
What are the safety measures put in place to not allow people to double dip?
It's a new business. So
Yeah,
it couldn't be an existing business.
If there was a new business downtown, an argument could be made that I want the downtown grant money and I want the grant money out of this pool.
But
Does I qualify for both?
it's being distributed by the same organization. It's not like there's two different groups, so that they're going to know who's completing the application. They would know immediately if someone's trying to double dip because it's the same people that would be getting the applications.
That's fine.
Does that?
So
Nathan, yeah.
yeah, so I can respond to this. From our understanding, there wouldn't be anything to prevent unless you specifically as a council wanted us to restrict it and say it can't be downtown businesses, right? So the thought process is that downtown could technically apply for the downtown grant, and as a new business within the city could apply for the additional 5,000. We didn't, I didn't know that would be a concern. If it is a concern by the entire body, we can make that a stipulation that it be only businesses outside of the downtown area that don't qualify for the downtown. But from our standpoint, whether it's 5,000 or 10,000, that's not a lot for starting a new business. And if we were to have a business start in the downtown, we would still want to encourage it. So that's my thought. I don't know. But this does allow for a broader community to receive the grant. And we know that there are some applicants already for that would appreciate this grant that are not in the downtown.
Alder Anderson?
Yes, you say it's not a lot of money. I have concerns about facilities that we've given money to that are no longer around. So it's basically flushing that money down the toilet. So I, I would be willing to approve this with the amendment that it's only available to people outside the downtown, as we already have a separate program that is for downtown businesses.
That raises a question, and Nathan, maybe you can answer that. Are we obligated to spend these funds in a certain amount of time?
We are obligated to spend them by 2026. The only concern I would have with this change, or if it were required, whether we'd need to review the agreement again with WEDC and make modifications. Again, this isn't city funds. These are funds that basically it's going to be we're the administering agent, but from WEDC's standpoint, I think that they're wanting to continue to assist small businesses.
And is there any, I guess my concern would be, would there be any problem drawing down all those funds by the end of 2026 if we limit it strictly to businesses outside the downtown? I don't know the rate at which new businesses attempt to, fill out applications and begin. So I would hate for us to leave state money on the table if we didn't have to.
Yeah, that would be something that I'd want to get feedback from both Tracy and John Moosreiner. I think that having it be more open would again allow us to do this more quickly.
Okay. Alder Bonnet, you had a question?
Well, and I really don't. My question was going to be, would it be possible for the council just to get a list of the recipients of the program for like the last 12 months or 24 months? But otherwise, I think it's a great idea to expand it, and I support it for downtown and for the citywide. I think the more we get, the better. But if we could, maybe it's been distributed or something, but just to get an idea, kind of going back off of what Ken said, are there businesses that started a year ago that are no longer in business? And not that that's the way it goes, but just to know.
Yeah, I can get you a list. Those are included in the DRC packets, and I believe that you guys receive those. So the Downtown Redevelopment Committee does receive those packets, and usually John includes a report. But I can definitely redistribute.
Good. Alder Zopp?
So I'm looking through what eligible business means in our agreement with the WEDC. Eligible business means a business with fewer than 25 full-time employees. Yep. Eligible business means with those with fewer than 25 full-time employees located in Wisconsin that meet requirements of recipient's investment strategy, right? So was there any description of, did we say full city?
So
how did we define?
Yeah, so our strategy, what we put in the application was basically mirroring the current program with the addition that it could be extended outside of the downtown businesses. I can talk with WEDC. They may not have a problem with us restricting it so that it's only outside, but the downtown. But again, that's something that I'd want to go back and review with them.
Was Larry part of reviewing the contract?
Yes.
I know he's not to go past you. Yeah.
No, yeah, Larry and his team did review the contract. Again, I just want to make sure, our WEDC partners, the contract was written in a way that it could apply to multiple grant recipients, right?
Okay.
What they understood the program to be, what we applied for was one thing. If we're modifying it, I just want to make sure that they're clear on it. If you're asking me, my opinion, I don't think it warrants modification, but I will do what the council as a whole has desired to happen. What I will say is that we do have part of the strategy, again, like I said, is to retail, restaurants, entertainment. And we did carve out, like vice retail, like smoke shop or, alcohol, like, those sorts of, that retail. So, and all those things were, reviewed by WDC.
Okay. I don't want to, I guess my personal opinion is I don't want to risk what we already have. So I'd be in favor of leaving it alone, but that's just my personal opinion on it. So thank you.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Oh, Alder Anderson?
If we have concerns with changing this, maybe we ought to just change the downtown program to where you cannot be eligible for that if you receive this grant. Second thing is, you said that these were administered by the same people, so the DRC is going to administer these also?
Well, that's that's the committee that the application goes through, but then the actual administration of the funds is going through.
Yeah, so I'll speak to that. The intent was not to have the Downtown Redevelopment Committee review these applications, and because DRC, in talking with John, DRC already, we've kind of expanded their mission already with giving them kind of residential facades and things of that nature. And we felt this would just be one more thing where we're kind of expanding their purposes. We did ask the administrative committee if they wanted a jurisdictional review at the committee. They had basically said, no, we're comfortable with staff, since this is, I mean, this is 10 grants, maybe a few more. Like, it's going to be a fairly quick program to administer. If it were something where we were looking to expand this and actually put budget towards in the future, then I probably would also advise that it might be worthwhile to visit what committee we want to have administer. But for the intents and purposes of the grant, it was going to be basically a small committee of myself, John, and Tracy reviewing the application.
Okay. Yeah, Ken?
Just so that we're clear, so that we can be honest with everyone here. This is not being administered or approved by the same group that the current downtown one is.
Correct. Yeah, I was in error
Yeah.
there. Sorry.
Okay, so that's not true. So
Although
it's a,
John's on the DRC, so
I get that.
there's
but-
overlap.
But it's not being,
yeah, nope.
okay. Now, let's go back to, you said that this was simply an expansion of the downtown one. But it's being administered by a completely separate group of people. So how is this an expansion? It's a new and separate program.
Sure, if that's how you want to look at it.
Okay, so it's a new and separate program on its own. That's going to have oversight by 3 people, not a committee, or a committee of 3 people.
Correct.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions? Alder Flaherty.
I'm coming to understand that I understand this not as well as I thought when I read the packet. Either
Yeah,
that or
you and I both.
or I'm being confused by, like you say, there are issues of semantics and misspeaking. And may I ask, is this a continuation of an existing program, or is it something new? Or is it not even a program? Is it a grant that's in question?
I would describe it as a grant program that is parallel to an existing city program. They're very similar. If someone came to me and said, I'd like to start a small business in Beaver Dam, what should I do? I would say, we have a program for that. Talk to our city administrator and he will point you in the right direction. And then he would be able to advise them the best way to go about getting their $5,000.
Yes, I understand. I guess I do. I have concerns as well, but I don't know that they'd be seen as large enough to really look at. It just seems like they're dusted aside, but I need to look at this more deeply. I thought I understood it and then we discussed it and now I'm a bit confused, but when you said expansion, I will admit that confused me a little bit because it seems that it is separate. Anyhow, I'm not sure at this point what else to ask, but I'm taking it on faith that my colleagues have a handle on some of it too. Thank you.
Alder Zopp?
So if I may, we did have a nice discussion in the administrative committee about this topic. We did ask questions like who's going to administer, who's doing reporting, what does that administration look like, right? We know that John Moosheimer he's our long-term serving city inspector. He's been involved on the facade program, the downtown facade program. Right, it's a different pot of money, right? We're talking about a one-time $50,000 pot of money. John is well experienced with this type of program, so is the chamber. And we have a city administrator who is experienced in this as well. So we do have 3 knowledgeable people to administer this. We did have a discussion about whether the admin committee wanted, right, us right here, we had a discussion about, do we want to basically make the judgment call on every grant that comes through on these 10 or 12 grants, right? And we said, no. I mean, we said, no, we don't want that level of oversight. We trust that we have these 3 staff or contracted staff that can do it. But we did ask for a report. We want to know who was given the grant, who, right? We wanted that sort of after action report so that there is oversight. That's kind of where we left it. We did not discuss Alder Anderson's concern about a downtown business applying for a facade grant and that same downtown business applying for the WEDIC grant. We did not cover that. I would say Alder Anderson has a solution that we would just give guidance to the facade program that they not allow an existing grant recipient of a WEDIC grant to get that double pot of money, right? If that's what we want to do. But that I would still say, hey, we not risk damaging the WEDIC contract. So
Alder Flaherty.
I would agree, Alder Zopp, with your last statement. I don't want to jeopardize this either if we can help it. But you did say the grant recipients for this particular issue in question, the one we're talking about right now, were listed, right?
the program's not been advertised yet.
Not been advertised. Okay.
Right, so this is the start of it, right? We're at the agreement. we're
Okay,
accepting
then-
The money.
Yeah, it's an agreement that we're accepting, moving forward with WDC. One thing that I would note is that WDC is planning on making a more formal announcement of grant recipients and award winners and making it more formal. So we're being respectful of their timing too as well before rolling it out and start advertising the program. So staff also has some time. I provided you a draft of the application. We still have some review, and after your comments, we'll probably take back some thoughts processes too, where, you know, we'll report it to the administrative committee, et cetera.
All right. Well, that all sounds reasonable enough, I suppose. It's, as a new alder, I thank you for your patience. I'm just trying to get it all clear. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Alder Wild.
Yes, I had another question. So you were saying, Nathan, that this money all has to be dispensed by the end of 2025 though? Meaning that right now we only have 8 months?
No, 2026.
Oh, the end of okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Comments? Then I think we're ready to call the question.
Appenfeld,
Aye.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Paris,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yeds,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Very good. The resolution passes. Next item up is resolution number 25.
Resolution number 25-2025, a resolution accepting the Beaver Dam Ride Project Skate Park fundraising strategy.
Can I get a motion before we discuss?
I'll so move.
Thank you, Alder Bonnet. And a second? Alder Hiley?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. And I know the two young men leading this, this campaign came to Ops. I don't know if someone from Ops wants to comment.
Yeah, I will. And John can do it too, but John and the two folks from the skate park presented, and the committee asked several questions regarding the $150,000. And the general intention is that they've retained folks who are going to help them fundraise. And conclusion based upon our conversation was that the example was given, if they only raise 75,000, what would they do? And their general conclusion was they're very optimistic about getting the whole 150, but they would reassess to see on an incremental basis based upon the amount of funds. So it was unanimously passed by operations.
Good. Any questions or comments? I don't know, John, do you want to, anything you want to add?
Well, I think Joe did a pretty good job there. We've been working with a group of individuals to renew and rejuvenate the skate park and make it more user friendly for people of all ages. Working with a design group, we have a design made, and now we're starting in a fundraising piece of the project. We will be having some naming right opportunities for some of the components, which will fall under our naming rights policy, and we'll come back to this body if and when it's needed. And then, we're hopeful that we can raise the entire funds and do the whole project. If things run short, we'll reevaluate what we have, and we may do it in phases. But there again, that'll all still come back to this body for review. So that's pretty much it.
Great. Any other questions or comments for John? Okay, thank you, John. I think we're ready to call the question.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Paris,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfeld.
Aye. And the resolution carries. Next item, resolution number 26.
Resolution number 26-2025, a resolution authorizing amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement for the Madison Street reconstruction project.
Can I get a motion and a second? Alder Bonnet? Make a,
Oh, yeah, I make a motion.
okay. And Alder Wild?
Yes, let's second the motion.
Thank you. And discussion questions. I'm not sure, Todd, maybe you want to give us a quick, I'm not sure who or who's wants to jump in here.
Yeah, I can do this one. This is for the Madison Street reconstruction project from Chatham Street to Rowell Street. So MSA has been busy over the past 4 months, trying to acquire the easements that are needed for that project. We started out with needing 41 easements. To date, we've acquired 24 of them. Where we're at in the project now with the schedule, we need to start moving on the other ones that have been non-responsive to this point. Next step in the process is to do appraisals on those easements and then eventually go to eminent domain if we still can't get a response out of them. So essentially what this amendment is getting appraisals on the properties, reviewing those appraisals, and then going to condemnation if we need to.
Very good. Any questions? or comments? Then I think we're ready to call the roll.
Burnett,
Aye.
Bree,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Weil,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
And the resolution passes. And the last resolution of the evening, resolution number 28.
There's a 27.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I skipped 27. Resolution, darn, it's second to the last resolution of the evening. Resolution number 27.
Resolution number 27-2025, a resolution authorizing amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement for the Beaver Street and Front Street reconstruction project.
And can I get a motion? Alder Zop,
I'll make a motion to approve.
thank you. And a second, Alder Furry.
I'll second.
Thank you. And Todd, you want to repeat here?
Sure. So this is obviously for the Beaver Street and Front Street project, and this would add construction services to our agreement, which is construction admin, construction staking, and construction observation.
Good. Any questions? Okay, now we're ready to call the roll.
Bree,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Weil,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
And the resolution carries. Finally, the last resolution of the evening, resolution number 28.
Resolution number 28-2025, a resolution to approve a temporary Class B license for the Beaver Dam Pepper Festival on September 13th, 2025.
Can I get a motion? Alder Flaherty
I so moved.
and a second, Alder Fisher. Thank you. Any discussion? Then I think we're ready to call the roll for Alder Appenfeld's very last vote.
Would you like to go first?
Well, of course.
Okay. Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Bree,
Aye.
Flaherty,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop, Anderson.
Aye.
Very good. The resolution passes. Finally, the last item on the agenda before we adjourn. I have a proclamation and a letter that I would like to read. As most of you are aware, that Alder Appenfelt chose not to run for re-election, and so this is her last meeting of a very long list of meetings that she has attended, countless thousands of hours. So I'd like to read the City of Beaver Dam Office of the Mayor Proclamation in appreciation of Kay Appenfeld. Whereas Kay Appenfeld has served the City of Beaver Dam as a member of the Common Council representing District 11 since 2017, and whereas Kay has served the City of Beaver Dam in countless ways over the decades, including but not limited to numerous and various leadership roles with the Beaver Dam Senior Program, highlighted by being the chair of the building committee, which resulted in the creation of the Watermark Community Center. And whereas Kay has championed the continued development of downtown Beaver Dam, including serving on the Downtown Restoration Committee, the Downtown Redevelopment Committee, and the Chamber of Commerce Tourist Committee, along with leading the mural project as part of her many years and leadership roles with Downtown Beaver Dam Inclusive. And whereas Kay has also made contributions to a variety of community endeavors too numerous to list here, now therefore I, Roberta Mark, Mayor of the City of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, do hereby express our collective thanks to Kay Appenfelt with sincere appreciation for her exemplary and dedicated support of our community. Thank you very much, Kay. And folks, I was not kidding when I said too numerous to mention here. If you want to see just a partial list, I can't take credit for the decorations on the cake table, but a friend of hers put those together that just lists some of the many specific things that Kay has been involved with over the decades. I also have a letter that I would like to read. It says, "Dear Mayor and members of the Beaver Dam Common Council, in celebration of the retirement of Alderperson Kay Appenfeld, I would like to thank her for the many contributions to the city of Beaver Dam. In recognition, Shocked and Shocked is pleased to donate in her name a contribution of $500 for one of her favorite projects, the maintenance and upkeep of wall dog murals for Beaver Dam. Good job, Kay. Thank you and best wishes to you and Terry for a peaceful and happy retirement. Sincerely, Marianne Shock." Again. So after we adjourn, I invite everyone to join us for cake and to express your thanks to Kay. So, and that brings us to the last item on the agenda. Alder Burnett.
Hey, you want to do this one? Come on. Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Oh, we'll say Kay seconded.
There we go.